Well, as we continue our coverage from here at CattleCon 24 in Orlando, Florida, it's always a great opportunity to catch up with industry leaders from back home. And joining us now from the Cowboy State is Jack Berger, president of the Wyoming Stock Growers Association out of that Saratoga country. And we're catching up with you, Jack, just on the heels of these regional meetings here at this convention. Region 5, of course, includes Wyoming and Montana and quite a few other states like Colorado from Western Ag Network country. How important is it when we talk about a grassroots organization, whether it's the stock growers back home in Wyoming or here at the national level with NCBA, that really the direction of the organization starts with the membership?
It really does, and that's great to start with these regional meetings so we can all get together and hear what's going on in each other's region and kind of start at that level and be prepared for the week, and know where we're coming from and where the other states are coming from. So.
Well, and over the years, what I have found is Region 5 does carry quite the punch here on the national level. And folks, down in the southeast part of the country or in the northeast part of the country, they're truly interested in how we're dealing with our unique issues out in the West. We're going to eventually talk about the Rock Springs management area, but one of those unique issues that really no other place in America gets to deal with when it comes to like the Endangered Species Act and predators like grizzly bears.
Yeah, we got grizzly bears and wolves and, the whole Endangered Species Act, which probably wasn't a bad program when it was thought up. They should work with cooperation instead of regulation, and maybe it would be a more workable deal. This is their 50th anniversary, and what is around less than 3% of the species listed have ever been delisted. So not a very good track record right there. They need to change something to make it workable, I think.
Yeah, they need to listen to a few more cowboys and cowgirls from states like Wyoming, and of course our legislative leaders, that are always going to bat for livestock producers out here in the West. As we come out of that Region 5 meeting here in Orlando, what were some of the talking points that the Wyoming Stock Growers Association brought forth to the rest of the Region 5 caucus?
Well, our main talking point was that Rock Springs resource management plan and how, that's been like 12 years in the making, and all of a sudden they surprised everybody and came out with the most preservationist alternative there. I mean, to make about half of it into areas of critical environmental concern, which is just meant for small areas and the road closures. And I mean, they had everybody upset with that deal, even the recreationists, and everybody was against it. And so the governor put together a task force, and there was quite a bunch of people, and they came up with 100 points that the whole group was in consensus on, that were things that were problems with that. And the BLM says they're going to take them into consideration, but I'm not sure what that means. So,
Yeah, I mean, how frustrating is it though for like states like Wyoming who, and groups like Wyoming Stock Growers, Wyoming Farm Bureau, the Wyoming Wool Growers. I mean, for as long as I can remember, the groups truly try to have a cooperative team spirit with these federal agencies, only to have it basically just be a bunch of lip service.
well, that started in like 2012, and for several years up until 2020, all the groups were talking, and they kind of thought they had a direction. In 2020, all the talk stopped, and all of a sudden here last fall, they sprung that alternative on everybody, just to everybody's surprise. It wasn't where people thought they were headed, so it's sure not a balanced approach.
So is that kind of a call to action for folks to get more involved with their state associations like the Wyoming Stock Growers? And if they haven't already, get involved at the national level and pay your dues to an organization like NCBA?
Well, I mean, that's something I'd been talking about. I mean, we got to stick together. We can't just let a few of us be out here, you know, taking all the heat on this stuff. We got to have everybody participating, I guess, and be joiners. And whether it's just local level, state level, national level, we got to have people helping us on this stuff, because there's fewer of us all the time. We better stick together.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it all gets back to being able to pass on to the next generation, Jack. I mean, and one of the biggest issues out there that's prohibiting a lot of small businesses, including farms and ranches, is the estate tax or the death tax, and just having to give away basically what it's taken generations to build, almost in a snap of a finger, to the federal government.
Yeah, that estate tax is horrible for any business. We're talking about ranches and farms here, but any business to try and pass it on to the next generation, that's a killer right there and stuff. And that's something we got to continue to work on. And I mean, it's not like we haven't for a long time, but seems like we make some gains, then we go backwards again. So.
Yeah. Well, lastly, I mean, over the years, you talk about making some gains. How cool is it to have another national president for the next 12 months leading the National Cattlemen's Beef Association in Cheyenne's Mark Isley?
Yeah, we're proud of Mark and glad he's going to be the new president, and he'll do a great job. And we're glad he's from Wyoming, and we're well represented.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir, for taking a little bit of time
Yeah.
and joining us here on the Western Ag Network. Again, catching up with industry leaders like Jack Berger, the president of the Wyoming Stock Growers Association, just one of the many thousands of cattlemen and cattlewomen joining us here at CattleCon 24 this year in Orlando, Florida.